This is
Good morning. I'd like to call the Subcommittee on Higher Education to order. Please call the roll.
Senator Van Valkenburg. Senator Aird. Here. Senator Head. Senator Pillion.
Here.
Senator Locke.
Here.
And then Senator Hashmi.
Thank you.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We'd like to go ahead and get started. We have several bills in here. We'll start with the bills that are similar to Senate bills so that we can go ahead and get those done and then go with the other bills. So we'll start with House Bill 690, Delegate O'Quinn's bill that was similar to Senate Bill 613, Senator Pillion's bill. Council, if you would tell us the differences and.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. HB 690 is substantively identical to SB 613. However, there is a small technical error in the bill as it was drafted that just switched the 3 and 1 in the section being added. So in two places it read 23.1-3100 instead of 1300. But that small technical error is the only difference between those two bills.
Move the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be adopted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Recommend reporting.
second.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be recommended for adoption. All those in favor, please say aye. No, no, that's everybody. Okay. And Ayers, aye. Okay. Okay. We now move to House Bill 827 from Delegate Cousins. It was similar to Senate Bill 318 from Senator Rome. Yes.
Madam Chair, yes. SB 318 is similar to HB 827. They were identical as introduced. However, HB 827 passed the House with a substitute that instead of establishing the Hunger-Free Campus Grant Program, instead is the Section 1 bill that directs the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia to conduct a survey of each public institution of higher education relating to addressing and coming up with ways to address on-campus food insecurity and compiling and making available guidance documents to each institution on strategies to address campus food insecurity.
We'll report this.
Yeah, so if I could just ask Council real quick, Madam Chair. So the substantive difference is rather than actually create the grant program, it's asking the colleges to kind of do some legwork to figure out what's needed.
Madam Chair, yes, I would say to the Senator that the substantive difference is that it is now directing Chev to do this study and develop guidance for these institutions as opposed to establishing this grant program.
I move to recommend reporting House Bill 827.
Would that need to?
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1445, requires the New College Institute to design and implement in collaboration with the Department of Labor and Industry, the Virginia Community College System, the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia, the Virginia Board of Workforce Development, and other relevant agencies and organizations, any workforce development programs necessary to support the initiatives of the Commonwealth, including adult education and workforce training programs. So basically, NCI was kind of started and founded as something that would do your 4-year education. And during COVID and those things, obviously that kind of changed where so many people can go online now and take those sort of courses. And it kind of became more of a workforce development program institution. And so we just simply want to add that language to their charter. I do know that originally, I think there was some year one funding, and there wasn't anything in the budget for year two, but from my understanding at the moment, as the budget came out of the House and Senate, it was added for year two in both sides at this point. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning. Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Madam Chair, the differences are that SB 506, as it passed the Senate, had a substitute that added on language that required each public institution of higher education to appoint to its governing board two non-voting advisory representatives, one of whom shall be a representative of the university staff, one of whom shall be a representative of the university faculty. HB 1467 is very similar to that with some minor changes in language throughout. However, actually that hasn't happened yet. But so as of now, those are the similarities. The differences are that SB 506 contains that additional language about the University Council, but that is not at conflict with anything in HB 1407.
Move.
I believe there's a new substitute.
Want me to move that? I'll move the substitute.
Madam Chair, the substitute in front of you creates a simple democratic process for electing two non-voting advisory members to the governing body of higher institutions, one from faculty and one from staff. I could continue on if you're...
And will the Senate version do the same?
So,
Madam Chair, if I could clarify. Senator Surville's bill, SB 506, we removed that was my language that we had added to Senator Surville's bill, and we have removed that bill in the House, that language in the House, and so Senator Surville's bill now focuses strictly on the issue of counsel in higher education, and Delegate Lawfer's bill accomplishes what I was seeking to accomplish on the Senate side, and that is to ensure that faculty voices have representation and staff voices have representation as non-voting members of the Board of Visitors at each baccalaureate institution. So this is a separate bill at this point from the original bill from Senator Surville.
Okay.
correct.
All right. Any questions to the delegate regarding House Bill 1467?
I have a quick question for council.
Senator Van Valkenburg.
How does this interact with the other bills that we've passed about people being on college boards?
Madam Chair, Senator, I believe the senator is referring to the bills that are relating to expanding, or not expanding, but requiring the membership of SHEV to include, yes. So these are individual governing boards of individual baccalaureate public institutions of higher education. So it would not interact with those at all. And additionally, this substitute also makes it such that this would not interact with or affect the existing number of voting members required for each, statutorily required for each governing board.
Yep, that's right. Okay. I'll move to report the substitute for House Bill 1467.
Since this is different, is there anyone here in opposition to House Bill 1467? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1467 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
No.
That was rather loud.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Delegate. Okay, the last similar is House Bill 1505 from Delegate Austin, which is similar to Senate Bill 678 from Senator Rouse.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Being passed out is a letter from all the athletic directors from major universities in the Commonwealth endorsing this name, image, and likeness amendment. Madam Chair,
And we're supposed to care about this?
pardon?
We're supposed to care about this?
Yes, ma'am, tremendously, greatly.
Okay, all right.
I very much want your support, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, HB 1505 amends name, image, and likeness legislation passed in the 2022 session. Over the past 2 years, other states have passed laws that provide their collegiate institutions with more flexibility regarding NIL. HB 1505 places the Commonwealth in a better posture to do the same, giving universities more flexibility when it comes to recruiting. It does so by preventing any organization with authority over intercollegiate athletes from penalizing a university for engaging in NIL opportunities with individual student athletes. HB 1505 also defines student fees and prohibits institutions from using these fees to compensate student athletes for use of their name, image, and likeness. The reality is NIL is here to stay, and we as a Commonwealth must provide our institutions of higher learning and our student athletes with the same options provided elsewhere. Virginia Tech, UVA, JMU, ODU, VCU, and Liberty support this bill. And we have with me this morning Jason Baum. Jason is representing the interest of all these universities and helped draft this legislation. And the reality is, Madam Chair, members of the committee, the last time we had a university play for a national championship was in 2000 when Virginia Tech played in the Sugar Bowl. The problem is when our student athletes perform well on the field or on the court or wherever, and they enter the transfer portal after that year, other institutions are not abiding by the NCAA's rules and regulations and are coming after our student athletes, and we cannot compete. This gives us the latitude that the SEC and the Big Ten are already using against us. And so you'll never see Virginia Tech, UVA mentioned on that field in NFL games in the future if we don't do something to bring parity between our institutions and others in the NCAA conference. And hopefully the NCAA will step up and enforce their regulations. Madam Chair, that's the bill. I have Jason Baum with UVA here to answer any questions. Okay. How does your bill differ from Senator Ross? Yes, ma'am. We put in our bill a line that references student fees, that no student fees will be used. And there may be other language, Jason, is there? Madam Chair, if I may, Jason Baum from UVA.
So there were a few other slight updates. There was no language about, or the language about no student fees being utilized. So now there's very explicit language about no student athletes or no student fees can be utilized to compensate student athletes for their name, image like this. There's also slight deviation from the language about people in their normal course of day-to-day duties, whether it's coaches, whether it's institutional personnel, being personally liable for any decisions made in their normal course of duties. So whether it adversely impacts an individual's name, image, likeness, they won't be personally liable. So that was slightly different, a little bit more nuanced than what Senator Rouse's was. Otherwise, they're very similar.
Normal course of action would have been to conform, but he doesn't have anything to conform.
Madam Chair, we very much regret that.
Madam Chair, did the patron say that there hadn't been a national championship since what year?
2000.
Okay. I would like to draw his attention to UVA. What year did they win the basketball?
For basketball, I think Senator was maybe, or that was 2019. I think we were talking about football, yeah.
Yeah, we're speaking of football, Senator. I know you look like the cat ate the canary there, eager to ask me that question. So.
Okay, so okay, Senator Rouse's bill reported from Ed and Health with his substitute reported out of Ed and Health. However, it was continued in Senate Finance. So what is the pleasure of the committee? You would. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1505 be recommended for reporting to the full committee. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
1 foot forward.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We'll make certain that Senator Rouse stands with us if we get the legislation passed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Okay, that's it for all of these similar bills. We now move to sign up Delegate Carr. You have House Bill 1365.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'd like to move the amendment which clarifies that any student who received Pell eligibility is subject to the $1,000 threshold. This will streamline the work of higher education. Thank you, Madam Chair. HB 1365 limits transcript withholding as a debt collection practice for institutions of higher education looking to collect direct to institution debt. This bill requires transcripts to be released to the student under a few conditions. First, it can be released directly to a prospective employer upon the request of the student. We can't expect debt to be paid off while being a roadblock to their employment. Second, transcripts cannot be withheld for nominal debts, defined in this bill as that is any debt under $500 or $1,000 for any students who received Pell Grants. Finally, this bill requires transcripts to be released if the student has enrolled in a payment plan and made 3 consecutive monthly payments. I've heard from constituents in the past who were caught in a catch-22. They could not get work because they couldn't get the transcript, because they couldn't pay their debt off, because they weren't employed. I introduced a broader version of this bill in 2022, which was tabled in favor of a study on direct-to-institution debt in Virginia. The bill before the committee is a result of the data and conversation with stakeholders. I hope the subcommittee will look favorably upon this legislation.
What happened with the study?
This is what came out of the study. And I've been told by the Virginia Poverty Law that this has been a model looked at as a national model of the outcome of Virginia's study.
Are there any questions to Delegate Carr? Anyone here in support of House Bill 1365? Anyone in opposition?
Recommend reporting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1365 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. And you have a second bill?
Yes, thank you. HB 1455 would establish Virginia Memory Project at VCU's Center on Aging as the state's Alzheimer's and Dementia Registry. VMP will collect and analyze data on dementia and other neurodegenerative disorders. In addition, they will provide assistance to individuals who have received a diagnosis by connecting them with service providers and other resources. The data collected and analyzed will be instrumental in instructing public policy and further research. This bill includes a delayed enactment to allow the VPM time to do a needs assessment for their security infrastructure as well as other back-end development. Additionally, I'm carrying a budget amendment to facilitate the extra staffing needs as well as security and technical needs capacity.
Okay, any questions to Delegate Carr regarding HB 1455?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 1455 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? That one is reported as well.
Thank you,
Madam Delegate Carr. Delegate Knight.
Madam Chairman, I have House Bill 1055. And 1055 is a cleanup bill from what Senator Lucas and I had last year, which was the EVMS Old Dominion merger. And in that bill, it had a delayed enactment clause that was triggered by some deliverables. This addresses the deliverables, which had the delayed enactment clause, which said that Chairman Torian and Chairman Lucas would sign off on it, which they did. Now this is to put it in code. EVMS and Old Dominion agree with the changes, which are but they're not changes, which fleshes out how the board will be appointed between the EVMS and Old Dominion merger.
Okay, any questions to Delegate Knight regarding HB 1055 with respect to the merger with EVMS and ODU? Anyone here in opposition?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 1055 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say. Why are you looking at me? Oh. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Okay. Thank you, Delegate Knight.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members.
Delegate Tran.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I have House Bill 980 in front of you today. This bill ensures that students who report being hazed or report being bullied as a result of being hazed are connected to on-campus mental health supports. We've done a lot of action in our code to make sure that we are addressing hazing and taking disciplinary actions against students who've found to have hazed other students, but we are pretty silent on the supports that are available for students who are victims of hazing and throughout that reporting experience. As we all know, being hazed could be an incredibly traumatic and isolating experience as you're dealing with that. And this is an issue that one of my constituents brought to me that her daughter had experienced on Virginia's campus, one of Virginia's college campuses. And in speaking to other advocates in the space, we found this would be really helpful to those students.
Delegate Tran, Senator Boysko had legislation with reference to hazing. How is this different?
Madam Chair, I would respond by saying this is focused on the student who reports being hazed and connecting them to mental health supports. Senator Boysko's bill and Delegate Murphy had that cognate in the House from a couple years ago, focused on the disciplinary actions against a student who was found to have hazed somebody.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Anyone here in opposition to House Bill 980? Okay, we have House Bill 980. Second. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 980 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you,
so
Delegate
much,
Tran.
Ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, Delegate Marshall.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members. House Bill 1357, and I have someone here an expert witness, if I could ask them to come up. But ILR is in Danville, and the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research has significantly expanded its impacts since it founded in 2002, my first bill. First established to growth in Southern Virginia across 6 counties and 2 cities, ILR innovation has positively affected much of the Commonwealth and has helped the state affect the attention of the nation and even parts of the globe. So I'm going to ask Telly Tucker, who is president of ILR, to expand a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. And welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. ILR has the ability to be responsive to industry needs, particularly in workforce training. So some 2.5 years ago, U.S. Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine came with the Department of Defense and the Navy to ask if ILR could take on a program called Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing. That program provides an opportunity for any person with a high school degree or a diploma to train for 4 months and then be connected to a job in defense, which is really critical to the Commonwealth of Virginia and to the nation. At this time, 100% of the costs are scholarshiped by the Department of Defense and Navy, but in the future, students will be required to pay a portion. So what this bill will enable us to do is to seek accreditation to be eligible to receive federal financial aid in the future for those students. This would be the first step in ILR moving towards applying for that accreditation. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Senator Aird.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Delegate Marshall. I have asked this question of all of these similar types of bills that have come before us, and so I just want to make sure I understand. Is this required in order for you all to be eligible for the application of federal financial aid?
Yes, Senator, as we understand it, we have to, in order to apply for to be eligible to receive financial aid, we have to have a national accreditation or state accreditation. We consulted with Chev on this. They advised us to go through this process to first change the statutory language for ILR that will enable it to independently offer adult non-credit education if the community college cannot do so, which is how the legislation is crafted.
Thank you.
Other questions regarding House Bill 1357? Anyone here in opposition? Moved and seconded that House Bill 1357 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, Delegate Marshall.
Thank you. Good morning.
I believe we have one last bill, and that's from Delegate Shin. Delegate Shin is out ill, and she asked that we present her bill, or that I present her bill. House Bill 1342 addresses on-campus student health centers, and it requires each baccalaureate public institution of higher education to staff its on-campus student health center with at least one on-campus certified sexual assault forensic examiner for the purpose of administering a physical evidence recovery kit to any student who is in need of such a kit, and enter into a MOU with local organizations or entities that are capable of providing the services of a certified sexual assault forensic examiner for the purpose of administering a physical evidence recovery kit to any student who is in need of such a kit. And that's basically what this bill would do. Is there anyone here in support of House Bill 1342? Anyone in opposition?
Madam Chair.
Senator Head.
Yeah, maybe I'm just remembering wrong. Did we not have a similar bill to this one, or so that addressed this issue, or is everything blurring in my mind? Because I mean, this is late in the session. But
I don't recall.
If we did not, that's fine. But I would, if not, recommend reporting. Yeah.
I don't recall that. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1342 be recommended for reporting. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, I think that clears our docket.
Madam Chair, just as a reminder, we are offering Revive training. DBHCS will be in House Room B to offer Revive training today at 10:30, 11, 11:30. So if you haven't had naloxone training, I would encourage you to do so. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.